This video will cover the even problems on page 5.5 and 5.6. So this is our third way to solve linear systems, and it is called elimination. So our job is to get rid of one of the variables first in order to solve for the other one. So we look for coefficients that are either the exact same or the opposites. If they're the exact same, we need to subtract in order to eliminate. If they're opposites, we need to add. We do need to also make sure our equations are lined up. Usually they will be, but every once in a while they are not. So starting with number 2, we have our variables that are lined up. The x's match exactly. They both have a coefficient of 1. So we would subtract, same subtract. So 1x minus 1x is 0. Those are eliminated. You can cancel it out if you want, but you will need to use those equations again, so don't completely scribble it out. Here's where you have to be careful. 4 minus negative 1 really means 4 plus 1, which would give us 5y. 13 minus 3 gives us 10. If you would have accidentally done 4 minus 1 and got 3, you would have ended up with a fraction. Although it is possible to get a fraction, in our notes and assignments, we will get all integers for our x and y values. So divide by 5 and we get y equals 2. If you don't have to show dividing by 5, if you just know that means 5 times 2 gives me 10, then just put y equals 2. Then we need to solve for x. So you need to plug the 2 back into one of your two original equations for y. It's going to be easiest to do the bottom one. So x minus y, which was 2, is equal to 3. Add 2, and we get x equals 5. So our answer is 5, 2. Again, you always want to plug it in to both of your original equations to make it work. So in this top one, you would do 5 plus 4 times 2, and you can do that right in your calculator. Make sure you get 13. Then you need to do 5 minus 2 to make sure you get 3. So since it works in both of them, that means you found the correct ordered pair. Number 4, they're already lined up, and you can see the two y's match exactly. Plus 2y means those are the exact same. So again, we need to subtract. 4 minus negative 2 really means 4 plus 2, so 6x. The two y's we just said cancel out. 6 minus 18 gives us negative 12. Make sure you go in the order from the top down, 6 minus 18. Divide by 6, and x equals negative 2. All right, so I'm going to show you the long way to plug this in. I'm going to plug it into the top one just because of the negative. So 4 times negative 2 plus 2y is equal to 6. So that is the entire work that you would have to show before you started solving. My hope is that you can skip that and just, if you need to write it up here, put a negative 2, but realize you're doing 4 times negative 2, which is negative 8. So hopefully you can skip this step and just start with negative 8 plus 2y equals 6. Then we add 8 to both sides. 2y is equal to 14. Divide, and y equals 7. So our answer as an ordered pair is negative 2, 7. Again, it's always a good idea to plug it in to make sure that it does work. Number 6, they are lined up already, and we have a minus 3y and a plus 3y. So those are opposites. One's a positive and one's a negative. So opposites mean we add. So 10 plus negative 2 would be 8x equals 18 plus 6 gives me 24. Divide, and I get x equals 3. So the first step with the addition or subtraction is usually very simple. Plugging back in is where it gets a little bit trickier. So I'm going to plug it in down here. So negative 2 times 3 is negative 6 plus 3y is equal to 6. So instead of writing out negative 2 times 3, I just did that part in my head to get negative 6. So now I can add 6 to both sides. 3y is equal to 12. Divide, and y equals 4. So my ordered pair answer is 3, 4. Number 8, these are not lined up. So our first job is to get them to line up. So what you want to do is you want your x and y on the same side. So you want it to look like the bottom one. So we need to move our y over to here, meaning I would subtract it. And actually, let me redraw that. I'm going to move it so it's after the x. So to move it over, I would subtract it. So I would have x minus 3y is equal to 11. So for now, we're going to ignore this top one. We will use it in a minute. And we look at the bottom two now. We have the same, so we need to subtract. So 2x minus 1x just gives me x, or 1x, equals 16 minus 11 is 5. So that one was very easy. You can plug it back into any of your equations. It's going to be easiest, though, to plug it into this one. So 5 equals 3y plus 11. So subtract 11. Negative 6 equals 3y. Divide. Y equals negative 2. So 5, negative 2 is our ordered pair. Ten is already lined up. However, what you notice is the 3's match and the 4's match. So the x's match and the y's match. That usually concerns people, but just pick one to work with. I would pick the x's because they're first. So 3 and 3 are the exact same, so I would subtract. 3 minus 3 cancels. Negative 4 minus negative 4 also cancels. So I am left with just 0 on the left-hand side. So it is possible that both of your variables are going to cancel. When I do the right-hand side, negative 10 minus negative 13, that gives me positive 3. So 0 equals 3 is a false statement. So if your variables cancel out, you will either be left with a true statement or a false statement. This is a false statement, so there are no solutions. This is like when we graphed and they were parallel lines. If you solve and it's a true statement, like what happened in number 11, then it's infinite solutions.